Pavo Nature Club with a mission nurture the nature for our future, basically focusing on environmental awareness and problem solving activities involving our students. Dr. Nishamuni and Dr. Anil Awad address the audience about the activity later on. So, moving ahead, every teamwork needs a capable leader or more than one capable leader, and two such personalities are with us. One is our old director, Dr. Usha Mukundan Madam, and our principal, Dr. Himanshu Dauda. Both will join the function later on. In absence of Himanshu sir, I will request Praveen sir to welcome all the audience and delegates also.
Thank you, DDC sir. Good morning, everyone. Delegates on the dais, chief guest for the day, Ms. Vijaya Chakravarti, Dr. Sridhu Siriju Shivkaman, delegates of the dais, Antapan Madam and Mallikarjun sir. On behalf of the management, Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti, Principal of the College, Dr. Himanshu Dauda, and on behalf of my department, I welcome you all on this August auspicious function of the inauguration of Botanica, which is the main theme of our Department of Botany, as well as the Nature Club of RJ College, that is Pavo Nature Club. To brief here, Junjunwala College is not a new college. It's about, we are celebrating our 60th year this year. I being an alumni of this college, right since my junior college till PG, I can say I'm proud of being a RJ, and I have seen my college growing over these years, right since 1985, under the able guidance of various principals and especially the present director, Dr. Usha Mukundan, and now the present principal, Dr. Himanshu Dauda. To give a gist of what our college is, even though our college lacks a campus, but then we have a vertical growth, we can't go lateral. But nevertheless, we have courses right from UG to PG, including the PhD in various faculties, and we have a number of self-financed courses such as IT, computer science, biotechnology, BMS, DAF, DevOps, to name a few. And they also have their PG courses. Our college is also, even though we are not into the social media front, I would say, but nevertheless our college is one of the best among, I would say proudly, not only in Maharashtra but among India, among the academics as well as sports. Our college also has been in forefront in various social activities. We have a number of associations. To name a few, we have the Pavo Nature Club, which is involved in the environmental issues. But apart from this, we have a number of associations, such as we have the National Rural and Entrepreneurship Cell, which is SCS RAC, under which we have various subcommittees which deals with water conservation, soil conservation, greenery campus, entrepreneurship. So students have been actively taking part with the guidance, under the guidance of the teacher in charges. We have our students as well as staffs are involved in waste management, such as composting of the waste. It's involved in collection and the submission of the e-waste to the Maji Swasundhara Abhiyan Association. We have our students involved in collection and deposition of multi-laminated plastic MLPs under the Mumbai Sustainability Center, Supply Bank of India. Right, we have the seed bank. So our students, even though as I told you, we are not into a social forefront, but nevertheless we have and we are into the process of nature conservation. So So with this few words, I welcome our guests, and I hope the students will invite guidance. I know they are eminent persons, and with that talk, our students will really benefit. And very happy that we have opened out, and it's not an online session, but it's an offline session where there can be a one-to-one interaction. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Without wasting much time, now I would like to invite Dr. Nisha Muni, in charge Botanica, to address the audience about different activities under Botanica in this academic year. Dr. Nisha, madam.
Good morning to all, and that first line I would always say, because still we have not forgotten our online session. Am I audible? Okay. So I welcome you for the first function from Department of Botany, and that is to offline, as Praveen sir said. We all are very happy to see you all together here in personal, and we can really communicate with you face to face, and that's a very big advantage. Now students, this year we are celebrating the 60th year of our college, so definitely the activities are going to be more pronounced and very distinct one. Our department function Botanica, more than 2 decades we are celebrating that. We are organizing this Botanica more than 2 decades, and definitely it's a signature activity. It is always counted as a signature activity, and not only RG, but now in Mumbai University, all colleges having botany as a main subject at the TY level, they all are aware about this festival. Now in this, since our SY students are, or they have already, SY has already spent a year in a college, so they are very familiar schedule, college premises, all the facilities which we give, and their intermediate year. Next year they will be in a graduation. So what is the basic thought in our mind is, let SY student manage this festival. So we give complete responsibility to our SY students, and they come up with various themes, and on the basis of that theme we ask them to develop certain projects. Now this year again we will get an opportunity, rather means you all will get an opportunity to present your projects, present your creativity, present your innovations towards the society, towards the other people, and towards the conservation of the biological sciences or biodiversity and so on, and of course our environment. So depending upon that particular theme, our SY students prepare projects, and they are given the opportunity to present those projects in front of guests, and with, or you can say, large number of dignitaries which we invite. Not only that, but students remember that when the Botanica is arranged, your projects are to be explained or shown to school children also. So whatever you all are aware, whatever your innovation should reach to school level also, so that school children can get motivated. So that entire program is a complete one-day program, and of course, as you know, it needs a lot of preparation. Along with that, even our department or Botanica Association conducts the intercollegiate competition for various aspects, floral rangoli, biojewelry, and so on. So that is always there to encourage students, and to encourage students from different colleges to participate in our competition. So that you can say it's a very important feather in our cap, arranging the Botanica and conducting it very successfully. We do give students participation certificate. The competitions are there. Special renowned judges are invited. They do the analysis. The winners are decided, and then the appropriate encouraging prizes are also given. So it's a big festival, students, and I expect you all to be ready for that. Start preparation in your mind. The themes you can bring it to us, and you can prepare the project. And that is around in the month of December. When you finish your term exam, you are coming back to the second term, that is your SEM 4, and for TY SEM 6. So that Botanica will be in a very pleasant time, and that is the December month. And we have seen for so many years that Botanica becomes a very memorable event when they finish their graduation and go in their professional life in future. Even we arrange the activities for FYBSc, even though the students have not come here, but just to make a mention, our FY students are new entrants and they also should get definitely encouraged. So certain programs or certain events are arranged for FY also in the form of quizzes or photography competition or exhibiting their skills with relation to biological sciences and so on. So for FY also there is a special program which is arranged during Botanica. So this program is real. Actually, students, we are also waiting because last 2 years there was no such interesting interaction with students. So on behalf of Department of Botany, including SY and TY students, we are going to organize that Botanica, and that is what is about Botanica. For TY students, don't become nervous. You are going to become a mentor for your SY students. So TY students are given an opportunity to become a mentor. They are supposed to guide SY students, even though last year you have not done it offline, it's okay. But still, I think last year we were given a chance to do it offline because in February month we had opened the college, and in February month with a very short period for preparations, our SY students now who all are in TY, they had done wonderfully the presentation of Botanica. So TY students will be given a chance to become a mentor. You will become a guide for your SY students, and you can also think about these special activities, what you can do for getting or for having a fun during the festival. So this is about the Botanica, and just remember in mind that's going to be a very important activity. That of course we are our teachers, so some part of evaluation will be there in every activity. So even in Botanica program, there is some evaluative program or an event or something will be kept which will be evaluative, and you will be rather thrilled to know that this can be done for your evaluation as a skill-based program. So this is about the Botanica, and thank you so much all of you for following the punctual timing and remaining here, and I hand over back to DBC.
Thank you, madam. As madam said, it is a evolutionary great. TY and PG students are taking care of supervision and mentoring process. SY students are totally involved in the Botanica function, and FY students are just getting awareness and the involvement how they can do better next year. So thank you, madam. Now, moving ahead, the second inaugural program of Pavo Nature Club. The in charge of the Pavo Nature Club is Dr. Anil Awar, and I request him to come and tell about the activities of Pavo Nature Club, and also introduce the guests for the today's function. Sir.
Yeah. Good morning. Just to add, because already much has been talked related to the activities of Pavo, I just wanted to add few things. It's a program with a mission, nurture nature for our future, and our first area are basically the climate change, solid waste management and e-waste management. It basically offers the opportunities for the students to learn, to develop skills, use their talents, and of course to have a fun. We have few collaborations with a number of NGOs, just to name a few: Paryavaran Dakshata Mandal, United Ways, Green Lines, Green Umbrella Organization, and Srishti Gyan. And I'm sure now we are looking forward to FOT to add in the list. I also take this opportunity see, it's always said you can't choose your relatives, but definitely you can choose your friends. And the social media is giving you the freedom of choosing the friends of like mind. So on Facebook, we are friends, and number of activities Madam is sharing. So I thought this is a correct opportunity to call Madam. So it's a moment of extreme pleasure to introduce to the multi-talented personality, Ms. Vijaya Chakravarti, who is a conservationist and a landscaper, who has designed and developed sustainable landscapes, children's natural play areas, edible and pollinator gardens, therapeutic spaces for leading corporates, hotels, hospitals and banks. She is also associated with Aramb, an NGO who is working in education for underprivileged, then CASE, an institute for inclusive education and skill development for the challenge, then Indian Women Scientists Association, which promotes science in the community and encourages women in science, National Society of Friends for Trees, FOT, which promotes conservation institutions, author of book, as you can make out, a recently published book, Wild Forgotten Foods. Today we also have with us Dr. Swidel, who is a taxonomist and also an author who did her PhD in taxonomy and ecology of orchids from Mumbai, Thane and Palghar district. She explored various remote corners of the study area to gain insight into the wonderful world of orchids. She is also an co-editor of the same book, Wild Forgotten Foods, and apart from that, she has also authored a booklet on Cassia fistula, that is Indian laburnum. She has worked as a senior research fellow on digitized inventory on medicinal resources of Maharashtra, which is a project of Government of Maharashtra under Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission. This project was focused on ethnobotanical aspects of medicinal plants of Maharashtra. The inventorization of floral components of Kardala and Tansa wildlife sanctuaries was carried out by Maharashtra Forest Department, and she was one of the contributors in the same. She has also been a resource person of Bombay National History Society for the field course in botany since 2019. So today we have these two distinguished guests for the session, and without wasting much of the time, I welcome both of you on behalf of all of us, and we are looking forward to your expertise on Wild Forgotten Foods. Thank you so much, ma'am. Please.
Thank you, sir. हम हैं. It is the ancient slogan, and activities of Pavo Nature Club is one step in this whole process, which includes different awareness programs. And recently, sir has started seed collection and plantation drive. So thank you, sir. Now, moving to the most important part of the function, that is the talk by our chief guest. Before to that, we are knowing that in India we are saying Atiti Devo Bhava. So before going to call her for the talk, I would request Praveen sir to felicitate Madam with fruit basket as a token of love and gratitude. And requesting Nisha Madam to please felicitate Dr. Sweden to Thank you, Madam. Now we can call Madam for her talk. We are eagerly waiting and students are waiting to hear about white forgotten food which in real sense we have forgotten. Madam.
Rush to do some conservation work. I apologize to come a little early. Good morning, everyone, and I would like to thank Dr. Anil for inviting me here. Yes, we are friends. You know, today in the modern world, we are friends on social media. There are many friends whom I really don't know. I've never met, but I'm very, very close to them. And I hope, you know, with Jindal National Society of Friends of Trees and Indian Women Scientists Association, we developed, you know, closer contacts. I'd like to thank all the people who came here before me, Dr. Singh, Dr. Praveen, Dr. Nisha, then Dr. Mukundan who we met, and of course Dr. Anil and others, you know, who have, and we also I think have the Vice President from National Society of Friends of Trees over here, and yeah, why don't you stand up? You know, exactly, yeah. Nice, yeah. And, we have Dr. Farah, who's the Secretary of the National Society of Friends of Trees.
Sure.
Yeah. And we have Mr. Iyer, who is a very Marlin brother, or a Bagban. You know, Bagban is a very, very old movie with Hema Malini and Amitabh Bachchan. Of course, I'm not as beautiful as Hema Malini, but I am a Bagban nevertheless. You know, I take pride in calling myself a gardener. So today's talk is about wild, forgotten foods. You know, wild. These were the foods of the Maharajas. In fact, when you read Maharaja Digvijay Singh's book, which has come out in 2020, he talks about the palash. You know, palash is a tree and Butia monosperma, and the flowers were used to cook royal dishes. And you go back to the old Manaso Vilas of Kadamba King, you know, it's a medieval book where he talks about Michela Champaka, the chapa flower, which was used to infuse water. You know, it was a people could. You know, I've lost touch with offline lectures in the last two. I was conducting a webinar, so this is my first time, you know, after so many years. So I forgot to bring my laptop, but it doesn't matter. So wild forgotten foods are nothing strange. You know, they were foods we were always using, but today we look upon them as poor man's food. Nobody wants to eat them. And our diets, you know, have become so restricted. The dietary diversity is lost. We are eating very few foods all over the world. You know, globally, only about 20 types of vegetables and cereals are being consumed by people. The main crops are, of course, rice, wheat, and corn. You know, They are providing about 60% of our calories, and the others are cabbage, cauliflower, tomatoes, lettuce, the palak, of course. But we've forgotten, there are over 7,000 varieties of plants, edible plants available, and yet we are consuming only 20 of them. Yeah. Next slide, please. Recently, about 20 years back, there was a botanist, and there were a couple of two botanists who spoke about plant blindness. When you look at this picture, what do you see? What is it that strikes you? What do you see in the picture? You see animals. That is what grabs your attention. And the rest of the picture looks, the plants look blurred and green. And even the painters or photographers do not focus on the plants, they focus on the animals. The birds. Why? Because greenery, of course, is the first thing which attracts our eyes. But we tend to club it together, group it together. But the colorful animal, it moves, a bird flies, so it grabs our attention. In this, they say, plant blindness is one thing which is leading to, loss or extinction of species, and it's harmful for conservation because we don't see beyond mammals and birds. Next, please. Sustainable Development Goals. All of us study SDGs in our education. These were promulgated by the United Nations, and there are various SDGs. You talk about removing poverty and having economic development, gender equality, and zero hunger. So there are a number of these development, climate change, how to control that. Everything revolves around nutrition. Because they say unless nutrition is there, nutrition is the key to achieve all these developmental goals. Because if you have to go to college, if you have to get education and you go on an empty stomach, you cannot concentrate. If you want employment, you will not get, because of absenteeism. People get sick because of lack of nutrition, and there is a lot of absenteeism which will affect the economic progress. And also gender parity. Women are hard pressed. There was a study by the Indian Council of Medical Research, and they said now the weight of women should be 50. 50 kg should be the. Fortunately, most of the young girls who give birth 40 kg, they weigh only 40 kg, and so naturally they have children. They give birth to children with less body weight, and less body weight means less brain development and less development of other physical aspects. So nutrition is the key to economic, to education, to alleviating poverty for all the 17 SDGs. Next, please. Yeah. All of you have heard of Bill Gates. He said that if I was a magician and I could wave a wand, I would choose to eliminate malnutrition. Remember Sarkar, the famous magician? He had a hall like this, and suddenly it was 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the evening, and when people looked at the clock, the time was showing entirely different, and everybody, he hypnotized. So Bill Gates was a powerful man, he said if I could wave a wand. Then we have Dr. Mehta Bamji. She was the director of Nutrition Institute of India, Hyderabad, former director, and also the living legend. She's been awarded the Living Legend Award by the UN. And she said, yes, what Bill Gates wants to do is true, because malnutrition is a very, very serious problem. It makes poor people poorer, and unless we control this, I think I'll just quote from her. She says that traps communities in cycles of poverty. You know, it makes sick children sicker and poor people poorer. So nutrition is very, very important. And we have Dr. Swaminathan, you know, who was known for the agricultural revolution. He talks of hidden hunger. His hidden hunger is nothing but deficiency in micronutrients. Now all these are available in the wild foods, which we have forgotten about. Next, please. Many of you all must have heard of Dr. Vandana Shiva. She is an ecologist and my mentor. You know, I look upon her. She's actually a physicist who's turned into a conservationist and ecologist. She says that in Indian rice fields, in fact they've done research and they found that in rice fields of Bengal there are about 80 edible weeds, and in Bangladesh there are about 102 edible weeds. And women, you know, are the main nurturers, and they were taking care of the nutrition of the family and fulfilling the micro needs. So they would, after their work was over, they would gather these weeds and bring it home and cook. So then the children were healthy, you know, they were getting all their daily quantities of different micronutrients. But today what has happened, we consider them as weeds and we try to use chemical pesticides. You know, chemical pesticides isn't different or a bad weed. Next please. Now I'm coming to certain vegetables, you know, certain wild foods, because it's not possible for us to talk about everything. We have mentioned 50 different vegetables, wild foods, vegetables, tubers in our book, but we will be dealing with just a few of them here. India's greatest gift to the world, you know, Mahatma Gandhi. Every day he would eat gola bhaji. You know, gola bhaji is a succulent leaf. It grows widely. And you can find it across the world. I've seen it growing in Australia, in America, in Africa. I mean, continents I've visited, I've seen it growing wild. Right? And during World War I, many of the soldiers, they were not getting any fresh food, so they had scurvy. So the general, British general, he deputed 20 soldiers. Just imagine taking 20 soldiers out of combat and making them gather the purslane. So they would spend the whole day gathering this weed and it was served to them as a salad. So we have in our book a recipe by nutritionist Priya Jacob, who talks about fusion food, something very new, but you can use it with yogurt. Next please. Yeah, this is about plants that look like human body parts. If you see the Shankhapushpi flower, the purple colored one, it looks like a female reproductive organ, right? And that is why it is very good for, it boosts fertility. You know what is happening today? There is this, polycystic ovary syndrome, which is there in girls. Young girls are developing this in their uterus, and there is a sperm count going down in men because of the use of chemical pesticides and fertilizers. Right? So this is one plant. It promotes, boosts fertility. That is why even many people have to go for artificial, to have children. And this is also a great memory booster, because I remember when my children were in 10th and 12th, those days it was such a great hue about 10th and 12th. I would give them this Shankhapushpi Sharbat, because it is a memory booster. It's also very good for people who cannot sleep. In the night when you take it, your stress levels come down, you get calm, and you can go to sleep. The other plant here is the Brahmi. The Brahmi, if you look at the leaves, it is shaped like a grain. Yeah. I'm sorry, I have this, but I've forgotten to show you. This is the Brahmi. It is, I got it from my farm a couple of days, so the condition is not so good. So Brahmi is again a memory booster. It is good for your brain. We have a very interesting thing called hard zone. This is quadrangularis. This looks like bones. So it is excellent for bones and is uh, prescribed in Siddha medicine. Siddha medicine is a very, very ancient medicinal system in India, and we say the origin of it is from sage Agastya. Today, Siddha medicine is practiced in southern India, but they say hard throat is prescribed across India. So, once upon a time, this system of medicine was prevalent across India. So you can make a nice chutney. We have Dr. Shamla Bharadwaj, a chemist from Indian Women Scientists Association, who has written a recipe on how to cook. See, if you want to save anything, you have to eat it. You have to be able to identify it. You have to know how to cook it. It's very important. Cultural connection. Let's see, India got separated in of Telugu people, but they wanted to separate. And so we formed Telangana. Telangana agitation was going on. Go back. This was a slogan. Because many plants had cultural connotations. Many plants are associated with different communities. Similarly, gongura or ambadi, which is normally eaten in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, and in West Bengal and certain northeast countries. In the north, it is not familiar at all. But if you have Vijuta Divekar, the very, very famous nutritionist, she says, she calls it a superfood. And in the prasad made in Kolhapur, Mahalakshmi temple, I think in Nagpur, where they have this celebration during Diwali, they use 24 different vegetables, and gongura or ambadi is one of them. And then of course we have, this is gongura or ambadi. Okay, it's a very sour thing. It's used as a souring agent. In many places they also dry it, powder it, and use it instead of imli. It is very rich in vitamin C. Even the fruits are edible. You can eat the fruit also. You can make a lovely chutney with it. Yeah. Then is Gudi Padwa. Gudi Padwa is the New Year, for in Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. And we have a very nice system over here. We use the neem flowers or tender neem leaves, and it is and a chutney, a prasad is made out of it, with jaggery, tamarind, mango, and the bitter neem leaves, and they call it Shad Ruchi, because according to Ayurveda, there are 6 states, sweetness, bitterness, then there is a tardiness, and there is astringent and sweet. So, just to portray that life is not all joy. If you want to go across the passage of life, you have to face many challenges. You will have something bitter, something sweet, but you need to take everything and go ahead. And it is highly medicinal. Today, neem is used across the world, and it's also not only used as a medicine, it is also used for pesticides. And Bengalis use the tender leaves of neem, and they cook it along with bengal. Just like we use methi, instead of methi, the tender leaves of neem are used. Next, please. Yeah, next. Yeah. This is the Proust effect. Fragrance triggers memory. Proust is an author, French author, who after eating these sponge, miniature sponge cakes, dipped in tea, the aroma triggered memory, and he wrote memories of his childhood, and he wrote a lot of books. So even for Alzheimer's, dementia, when we create landscapes for people with Alzheimer's and dementia, Asia, we use a lot of aromatic plants because they help to trigger memory. It's one of the cures prescribed. And also Rabindranath Tagore, Tagore lost his mother when he was a toddler. So he couldn't remember his mother at all. But the smell of the parijat flowers, triggered memories of his mother. And whenever he saw parijat, because his mother used to use parijat flowers during her puja, he didn't remember her face, but the smell of the parijat triggered memories. Now parijat flowers, leaves. We have Dr. Saraswati Roy, who is an engineer. She has written about parijat leaf pakoras, vadas. So in Bengali they call it susuli, and it is highly medicinal, and it is rough. It was also used as sandpaper in the early days. When I was teaching in Sophia College, I had a gardener, one of the students was a gardener. This is a course in landscaping, and he had an accident, and he was not feeling well. So what he did was joint pain started developing, and he was eating these parijat leaves daily, and he said it was tremendous relief. At Indian Women Scientists Association, security said every day एक आदमी आता है मैडम और पत्ता लेके जाता है. So मैं बोला उनको पूछो क्यों लेके जा रहा है. He was worried. I said our tree will go bare. So he said no, this is a cure for arthritis. And after taking it for 3 months, this gentleman stopped coming. And then I told the security, पूछ लो why he is not coming now. So he says अभी कैसा पूछूं तो आता ही नहीं है. But anyway, one day he came, and then he said my pains have reduced. Right? Yeah. Next please. Yeah. Underground snacks. See, we have so many tubers in our so many guards, and these are insurance crops. Sweet potato. Sweet potato is a crop which you can harvest any time in the year. It is rich in fiber, and it is also good for your gut. We have so many gut microbes. Excellent for the gut because it is underground. It carries with it certain microbes which are good for your gut. And many times, farmers are in a mess because there is too much rain or there is no rain. But this is a crop which is drought resistant, guards, especially sweet potato. I had a neighbor, it's also an ornamental plant. The leaves look very attractive, they're very vibrant green. So she planted them as an ornamental plant, and she forgot all about it. It was looking beautiful. She wanted to repot, and that had gone to other plants. And when she tried to repot, she got a sack full of sweet potatoes. Of course, we were lucky because she distributed to all of us. This is, farmers are happy when they grow this. Next, please. Yeah. We come to the mangroves. Mangroves are the guardians, are real guardians. When the tsunami struck in 2004, many of the South Indian coastal states were totally inundated. Villages along the coast. But there was one village near, I forget the name, that's not important, you all can Google up, which had a good, when they are unable to get any air from the future, they have breathing roots coming up, and they breathe, and they have leaves from which they can secrete salt. Excess salt is secreted out, so they grow in very harsh environments where others cannot grow. And we have the state tree of Maharashtra, the Soneratia alba. Now Soneratia alba is a pioneer plant. That means when you plant Soneratia alba, it will take over and it will grow, and other plants will start growing in that area. It is a very resistant plant, very hardy plant. And the fruits of the Soneratia alba are used by the local fishing communities and coastal communities as a pickle. They make delicious pickle out. There's another interesting plant called the sea purslane. You must be knowing of chini gulab and office time flower. This comes from the same family. and this grows along the sea. And naturally, when it grows along the sea, it's a mangrove plant to have a lot of salt in the leaves. And especially Gujaratis, or many communities, when they fast, the women don't add salt. So, they have, they're very ingenious. I've been telling you, women are very ingenious. And so they make a bhaji, sabzi with this sea parsley, samundar khol bhaji. And so nicely it is salty, so they enjoy their fasting meals. Yeah, next please. Yeah, thank you very much. And now I hand you over to Dr. Sweetu Shivkar, who has co-edited the book with me. Sweetu, please. Hello, am I audible? In continuation of what Vijay has said, we come to the millet part. Okay? So millets, they are like chrome food. They have also been forgotten. Just like we had rice and wheat, they are still a part of the diet, but these have been forgotten. So what happens is, they are called as nutri-cereals. Close up. Hello? Yes. So should I repeat? So in cereals, if you see, these are the small cereal cereals. They are from the same family, from the grass family, but they are called as millets. They do not come along with rice and wheat. The ragi naturally we have, the pearl millet bhaji. Okay? They are nutritious, but they have been forgotten. So see, these are some of the examples. Now what happened with the millets is, in the 70s, India was still using them, but now the households have gone away from them. So what the Indian government is trying to do is trying to bring the millets, back to our tables, into our platter. So the next year, that is 2023, has been declared as International Year of Millets, and India is working along with United Nations. And we have a few institutions here in India, that is IIMR, that is Indian Institute of Millet Research, and ICRISAT, which is functional in India, in Asian countries and African countries. Because millets are a semi-arid crop. They are found in these two continents, that is Asia and Africa. What happens when you try to grow millets? They are very drought resistant. Okay, they use very little water, and the carbon footprint is also than the rice and wheat. Because rice and wheat and maize, they are water guzzlers. They take in a lot of water. And if you go to the northern part of Maharashtra, like Jawar, Mudbar, Mukhada, where there is less amount of water, you will see farmers growing vari naturally, which is an important part of their diet. So I have given some examples, and they have been named, like we have the Kodra, we types of the barnyard millet. So these have to come back to our platter, and this will give a lot of nutrition. Next. Now we come to the book, how have we done, the recipes. So the recipes have been complemented by articles from the nutritionists to make it more valuable to the reader. So people will get more information, they will be enriched. So in this case, I have given just a snippet of the index. So there, you will see like 3 recipes, and then there's an article by a famous nutritionist. So there are 18 nutritionists who have contributed to the book. And in this case, the 50 recipes they come from the leaves, tubers, the stem, so different parts of the plant. So they are going back to the tradition. So from the exotic, they are coming back to our own vicinity. And these are used to ailments and also health enhancers. So I would like to show so I'll be sharing few, not recipes, but 4 recipes, which are very different, like guava. We eat guava fruit, but guava leaf chutney. So it's different, So we are trying to come with something different, and below there are contributors' names. We are all plant biotechnologists, or they are physicists. They have contributed to the book. Now in guava leaf chutney, there's a lot of vitamin C. So that comes to your plate. So even if you don't get a citrus fruit, you can get vitamin C from the guava leaf. The next one is very this comes from Kerala. So the contributor here is the plant biotechnology. And in this recipe, like Patila Thoran, just like in taxonomy, how we try to understand the scientific name. Pat is 10, Ila is leaves. So Patila is 10 leaves, and Thoran is curry. Okay, so 10 leaves curry. So in this recipe, it's a recipe of 10 leaves. It's a immunity boost and very good. Okay, so I think we have to mix along with other cultures and try to cook those so that we can have diversity at the table. Next one. Now here again, this is from the first one is from West Bengal. It's Gota Shedo. So Gota means whole and Shedo means again it's boiled. Okay? So you boil different types of the parts of the plant and you cook the recipe. So when you look at this book, you will get a lot of ideas and probably you can try your own recipes. Okay? But with caution, please. Yeah. And then the next one is tongi leaf. Now we all know ivy gourd. Okay? We eat the tongi fruit. But this is tongi leaf tamli. Now tamli, this comes from the Saraswat Brahmins. Okay? Saraswat Brahmins were very famous. They came from Kashmir down south. Okay? And when they traveled, they tried to eat different types. They infuse a lot of things into their own food culture. Okay? Now, if you see, tamli is actually a coconut-based or yogurt-based preparation. In that case, if you Google, there are at least 20 types of tamli curries. They use jackfruit. There is a jackfruit leaf tamli. There is a like the curry patta, the curry leaf tamli. So I think whatever they have found in their backyard, they have made tamli out of it. And in this case, there is a recipe on tongi leaf. Now, next part is the important part of our book was nutrition analysis. So all the recipes we had, we shared it with experts. Okay. So there is Dr. Ratna Raje Thar. She's a research director in Nirmala Niketan College. So she and her associates, the students, they all our recipes and we try to calculate it. Now, if you see here, I put a label. You have all seen it. If you are eating cornflakes and Kellogg, they have these tags. So, to have those tags, what you get from it. So, in our case, so we have given certain annexures. There are 4 annexures in our book, where we have explained. There are 20 different nutrients the team worked on, Dr. Thar's team, and they try to find out what nutrients you get from each recipe. So if it's dietary fiber, that is beta carotene, it's calcium, magnesium, zinc. So all was done according to a food composition table of 2017, and everything has been worked very scientifically. And they've done a lot of research, and all the annexures are present in the book. And the next one, in this case, they also tried to find out who's first, second, among the 50 recipes, who was the front runner. So front runner means the most nutrition you get from a particular recipe. So Patila Thoran was the first one. Yeah. So this is what we try to bring from our book. Next we come to opportunities. So now what happened is, the forgotten foods, the whole subject was lost, and now it's coming back to the mainstream. So what are the opportunities for the students? So I have a few examples. So this famous chef, and he cooks a lot of recipes. But now he's trying to use the different forgotten foods. Many chefs are going back to the wines, okay, and they are trying to bring it to the mainstream. Okay, so suppose you have there's a fruit called there's a species called as Tamil Nadu indigenosa. It's called as Pendra or Pendri. The tribals, they cook bhaji out of the food. But what the chefs are trying to do, they are trying to make soup out of it. So they are trying to find out the taste. So we have to get that taste, that required taste. So in this case, I want to propose to you. So when after you're doing your botany, what is the field? This is a very interesting field. So you can become a blogger who will blog different recipes. Okay, a chef who will try to bring this back to the table with different types of recipes. If you're a botanist, very important for a botany student, because you go to the tribals, you speak with them and you document them. Unless and until you document them, the other subjects or other different areas, or the chefs or the bloggers, they won't be able to come back to the city and propose it to the city folks. Lawyer and all these different things common. So what different can you do and what can you show it to the world? Important part, what happens to the forest? So we have to find a solution for that. Now in this case, what we can do is we can bring them to our kitchen gardens. Just as like this Miss Marvin, she is from Meghalaya. So when she started from her childhood, she used to visit with her mother to the wild and bring back forest foods to her home, like the mushrooms and different species. But as she grew older, she saw that all the species, they're depleting because the population is increasing and more people are consuming it. So what do I do? So what she did, she collected a few specimens and she started growing them in her kitchen garden. So this, they have a society called as Northeast Slow Food and Agrobiodiversity. So this is how they work. So they bring the species, because then it becomes commercial and then the whole purpose is lost. So you have to be very careful and put, our foot forward with caution. So I would like to continue this whole lecture into like how we started with nutrition. Like ma'am explained, what is nutrition. Okay, then we saw what is plant blindness. And to go out, to become very visual about plants, we need to know all the forgotten foods, the traditional recipes. Okay, so that is how we try to bring everything together and make everybody available. So this is a picture of the same Northeast society where they are trying to train the young kids to know their agrobiodiversity, so that they don't forget the tradition, that they are still, the tradition is still carried out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijaya Madam and Dr. Sweden, for your beautiful and lucid lecture on wild food and recipes with their nutritional aspect, their historical aspect, and growing sustainable development. The major problem is, two major problems are overpopulation in the selected area and selected food habit. These are the two basic problems. And one additional one is we have forgotten our wild source of food, but slowly we are returning back to the basics, and it may help the nutritional aspect and other aspects of the human being. But again, the negative way is more pressure on now wild vegetables also, if population is growing ever. So thank you, madam. One more request from our side. Please declare Botanica and Pavo Nature Club to open for all.
I'd just like to say a few words before we begin. Thank you. I never expected the students to be so nice. That I enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sure Dr. Swidel also has enjoyed. So that's more important. You come, you should also enjoy. So just like you all are listening. And I would like to say that we are having the Ranbhaji Festival, Indian Women Scientists Association, in collaboration with the National College in Bandra. So I would welcome all of you to join us and also give us tips. This young gentleman here, he was telling me about the Brahmi, how it is used in Dasera. So if you have connotations, political, religious, with the white plant, I would appreciate if you can share it with Dr. Anil and he would tell us about it. And now I would like to declare the Nature Club and Botanica open.
So now we are moving ahead for vote of thanks, and for that I invite Dr. Veena Shilpa Madam to propose vote of thanks. But after that, one inauguration is also there. So just wait.
It is my pleasure to propose a vote of thanks after such an enchanting session, which took us back to our roots in terms of our culture, in terms of the lesser known and forgotten cuisines that you shared. I was just thinking, the name Swiddle was very familiar, and thinking. And then today in the morning, when I saw you, I remembered in the nomenclature conference at National College, yeah, we had met, right? So I take this opportunity. First of all, it is said that Vidya Dhanam Sarva Dhanam Pradhanam. So thank you for sharing the knowledge which took us back to our own culture. Ayurvedic system or the Siddha medicine that you mentioned, each and everything that you mentioned was actually very, very knowledgeable, right? So I thank our speakers, Dr. Swiddle and Mrs. Vijaya Chakrabarti for adding to our knowledge wonderfully today. Also, I take this opportunity to thank the enthusiastic delegates who have accompanied and contributed to this particular program, which is Dr. Paran Attappu, Mr. Mallikarjun Iyer, and Dr. Vishal Desai. Thank you so much. After thanking the delegates, we would like to thank right from our Honorable Secretary, Dr. Rajendra Singh, who due to pre-appointments couldn't come over here. Also our beloved Director, Dr. Usha Mukundan, who is always there to guide us. Our Principal, although he is from the same department, but as Administrator, it is our duty to thank him, Dr. Himanshu Dawda. Vice Principal, Captain Praveen Nayak, who was there with us for supporting us. Also, the professors from different departments, Professor Deepak Pujari, Dr. Bindu from the Zoology Department. Thank you so much for spending your time this morning. Nothing is complete without the technical assistance. So I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Hemant Sambhaji also for the arrangements, whatever arrangement we required for the exhibition and the other things. I thank Mr. Vishal also at this particular event. Nonetheless, the most important thing is the students for whom we are conducting, and this particular event, that is the inauguration of Botanica as well as Pavo Nature Club, wouldn't be complete without the energetic and enthusiastic participation of the students. So big round of applause for everyone of you, right? Thank you so much, and on behalf of our botany department, I thank each one of you for gracing this particular occasion, and with the mission of Botanica that we say, bloom thy aura, groom thy aura. We are grooming the students so that they can bloom in their future. I stop over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Now we have attendance. I think everybody has signed first thing. Thank you. So as we are aware that Department of Botany has organized an exhibition on wild vegetables in this hall only. So for that, I request all the delegates to please proceed towards exhibition and kindly do the inauguration of the same, and requesting Ruchira madam to please accompany her.
Students will wait, huh?
Students, please. Sir. Students, please be at your place. After we will call SY students row-wise for the exhibition. And in last, one big round of applause for our students. Let me celebrate. It looks absolutely easy. So inauguration of the exhibition is now done. SY students, TY student, you can wait here for some time. TY student,